introduction and then turn it over to you.
Perfect.
All right. Well, welcome everyone. Good afternoon. Welcome to Public Health's virtual education series, Wazooki wa Ehi, Family Conversations. I'm Renelle, public health nurse, joined by Jamie Decora, our public health worker supervisor, who will help me moderate today's session. The goal of this series is to gather, learn, and share about Ho-Chunk culture, resources, services, and the connection to health. In public health, we focus on prevention, promotion, and the protection of the health and well-being of our communities. Health and well-being are rooted in many aspects of our lives, from our physical body, our mental health, our spirit, the environment we live in, and much more. During these sessions, we will explore topics that can impact our health and well-being. Together, we will learn about tools and resources to improve our health and the health of our communities. Today, we're joined by the Ho-Chunk Police Department officers Demarace and Mangold. With all the upcoming holiday travel, they're going to prepare us for winter safety and travel. We'll have about 45 minutes for their presentation, followed by Q&A. Please use the chat function to enter any comments or questions for our presenters. Jamie and I will monitor the chat throughout the presentation and then read the questions for them at the end. You can also raise your hand and come off mute to ask questions. Any questions that we may not have time for, we will forward off to the officers and then email those responses back to the group. This session is recorded and will be posted on the Department of Health website and our Facebook page. Everyone, please welcome Officers Demarace and Mangold.
Hello, I'm Officer Kayla D. Marcy, and this is?
I'm Officer Kayla Mangold.
I've been an officer for coming up on 20 years now, last 2 years with the Ho-Chunk Nation Police Department. I've enjoyed every last minute of the last 2 years working for Ho-Chunk. We were also advised that to give you guys a little bit of history of the police department and the constitution of the Ho-Chunk and what allowed us to have a police department. That being said, in November 1st, in 1994, the U.S. Secretary of Interior approved the new constitution for the Ho-Chunk Nation to federally recognize pursuant to the Indian Recognition Act of 1934. Since then, it allowed the Ho-Chunk Nation legislator power to make laws, ordinances, codes, and resolutions and statutes from the Wisconsin state statutes. So they can be more restrictive. We can never really be less restrictive than the state, but we can be more restrictive. We do run under the PL 280, which allows for the nation to pick and choose what ordinances, and I do air quotes because for our traffic laws, we don't have to adapt the whole traffic. That kind of keeps our sovereignty within the nation. I think it's a good thing, although it is frustrating at times because we have to look in the book a lot. There's thousands of traffic, not thousands, but hundreds of traffic laws where it's like, do we have this one? Do we not? Do we go stateside? Do we go local side? So it's kind of difficult for us, but I enjoy it because it does still give our community their sovereignty feeling. And then it allowed the Ho-Chunk Nation to grant powers to also general counsel. So not only the legislation, but then within our own members and tribal members. On January 8th, 2028, or 2000, yeah, 2020, or 2008, not 28. I'm not talking about the future here. It allowed the Ho-Chunk Nation to adopt the Law Enforcement Commission that organizes the police department and prescribe the rules and regulations for its management and control. On February 19th, 2010, legislation approved the chief of police position within the police department. So it from 94 all the way to here, a lot kind of had to happen within legislation. They can't just give you the approval to have the police department, and then the next day you're open. You have to fill the positions, you have to create policies and procedures to be able to carry out laws effectively for our members. And then between 2010 and October 2012, the Ho-Chunk Nation Police Department was built. In October of 2012, the Ho-Chunk Nation Police Department began patrolling the tribal trust, or the nation's trust tribal lands. So we patrol the actual trust lands, not the fee simple lands. The first chief of police was Daniel Libke, who is a Ho-Chunk Nation tribal member, and he served for approximately 5 months. And then it was filled with the chief of police, Earl Lemieux, who is also a Ho-Chunk Nation tribal member, who served from 2012 to 2022. And then now it's the current chief of police is Zachary Quackenbush, who took over in 2022 after Earl. And then now we're just, does anybody have any questions? Let's follow the little chat thing. Does anybody have any questions on what we can patrol or how we can patrol or anything like that? Okay. And then Kalen here, he's going to kind of introduce himself, but he's in my partner, Officer Devin Dozer, who is assigned the Black River Falls area and kind of the northern areas, Wood County and Shawano County. Him and I went to field training officer training in September. It's FTO training to be able to train new officers. The police department sent Kalen Mangold to the police academy. Kalen, well, I'll let him tell you that. So he'll tell you the history of his background.
So a little bit about me. I actually went to the police academy 2 separate times. First time back in 2017, completed it. I worked for Jackson County for a bit. Left it because of just more management issues. After leaving there, worked security in Madison for Ho-Chunk Nation. Kind of felt that passion again. Applied for the Ho-Chunk police officer position here. Got sent to the academy, completed it back literally a few months ago. Currently going through FTO. They haven't said anything too bad about me yet, so let's see how this goes. So going into winter traveling safety, biggest thing is more of the start of your vehicle. So the best thing to do, especially as these last couple days, how cold it's been, the best thing to do is have your gas tank at least at like around a half tank, due to if it gets under that, there's water built up in it, starts freezing the tank, freezing the tubes for it. Along those lines of keeping that half tank full, best thing to do is always check your oil, washer fluid, as we know that even when you have the -30 washer fluid in, still freeze your lines. Checking your coolant, inspecting your windshield wipers. I know most of us living here in Wisconsin, we tend to have like our own winter windshield wipers compared to summer, and that's when we usually buy them, but especially with all the salt, it's better to have fresh stuff. And then also making sure that your headlights and tail lamps are in proper working conditions, and that's also a huge thing, that when you do start to drive, even though you cleared off your windshields, to also clear off your headlights and taillights so people can see you. Other things to kind of remember with that is with clearing off license plates, as if an officer can't see that, it actually gives the officer right to stop the vehicle. So just kind of a little tip for y'all on that one. Good suggestions to have in your vehicle, it would be having like a blanket, just in case if something were to happen, having like some kind of blanket, extra warmer clothing, first aid kit for just about any time of the year. With that tourniquet, with that first aid kit, also having like a tourniquet involved in it, just so that way, in case if, worst case scenarios, as Kayla and I usually work in the worst case scenarios, we always like to have that to prevent death. With that jacket, it's ideal to have some kind of have it be like reflective, or at least have a reflective vest, so at night other vehicles can see. Uh, and living in Wisconsin, you could just simply toss in an orange jacket for hunting season. Uh, Having jumper cables, bottles of water, winter gloves, other warm materials such as like those hand warmers are really good ideas to just have just in case. Uh, if traveling long distances, especially when the snow hits the ground, we recommend that you at least contact someone that either you're heading towards or another family or friend relative, just to let them know that you're traveling that way, and give like an estimated time of your arrival, just so that way if something were to happen, you at least, and you're out of cell phone range, that emergency contact will still be able to at least contact the department to try to find your vehicle. Um, During the winter, it is best suggested that we increase our following distances for vehicles, giving yourself a little bit more time, a little bit more stopping distance, especially with the ice and slush on the ground. Uh, and while you're also increasing that distance, it is best to just kind of slow down a little bit. I know we all got places to be, but it's better to get there instead of being in a ditch. Uh, in case if you were to, in case of emergency, such as wreck, sliding off, or stopped in traffic, have emergency contact numbers available for you. So that is like best if you're always like driving around in Saw County, to just have the non-emergency number for Saw County kind of saved in your phone. Uh, we all understand we're all adults here. Call 911 for emergencies. That's always a way to go too. But if you're not sure, if you just have Saw counties, or if you live in any other area, Dane County, uh, or any other county, just to have that non-emergency and just call them. It still goes to the dispatch center, and if it's deemed that's emergency, they can go ahead and route it that way. Um, Now we're going to go into a little bit more of like what if scenarios. So if you do happen to slide into a snowy ditch, the best thing that we recommend is to, once you feel safe to exit said vehicle, is to at least check your tailpipe for the exhaust. As if it is covered by the snow, that is how carbon monoxide gets into your vehicles. Uh, it could cause you to faint due to lack of oxygen. So we do recommend that is like one of the few times to exit your vehicle during that time. Uh, Other things to do is before you do exit, if you do have that reflective vest or something a little bit brighter colors, we recommend that you put that on prior to exiting. Put on your hazard flashing lights to notify other traffic. Uh, but if the roadway is too dangerous, so for instance, you are traveling on a busier road and you slipped off in the ice, we recommend that you at least roll down your window a little bit and stay in your vehicle, as if your car were to get hit while you're in it is a lot safer than if you were to, as the body were to get hit by a vehicle. Uh, uh, Other things to do, if you do believe that it is dangerous while driving, we recommend for you to pull, and like your vehicle is damaged, let's say a flat tire, we recommend at least to pull off to the side of the road at least 50 feet off and proceed from there, such as making sure you have your flashlight, blankets, a first aid kit, and all that stuff.
That's really if you have to exit your vehicle. Like if you're disabled or if you've gotten into a wreck and if the wreck is in the middle of the road and your vehicle is disabled for whatever reason, we recommend that you get out of your vehicle safely with your reflective vest, flashlight, blankets if you need them. And this is any time of year. So if it's summer, we don't need blankets, but we recommend that you're at least 50 feet off the roadway safely away from other traffic, because sometimes when it's dark or you get into a wreck, your vehicle is so disabled that your battery becomes disconnected from the operation of the vehicle, where you're not able to use your flashing lights. So if you're on a bad curve, or even on just a really dark roadway that a lot of our communities are in, super duper dark, you can't see that vehicle and you don't want to get hit a secondary accident. So we recommend you get out, get off the roadway at least 50 feet away from the wreck, just in case somebody doesn't see it and they collide with your vehicle. You're not in it or you're not around it and they veer away.
Perfect. Other things we highly recommend drivers do while they are driving is to just be more aware of your mile markers. So driving on the interstate is a big one for mile markers. That is a easier way for the county or state patrol to be able to head that way if there is a need of a crash and or other emergency services. We wouldn't be doing our job if we didn't always say this. Make sure that we are always wearing our seatbelts while traveling, as that is a huge thing that does prevent major injuries and or death. Kind of going off another scenario. If you are involved in a crash, the biggest thing that we always recommend is you guys stay calm as possible. Call 911, provide your name, your telephone number, date of birth, and the seriousness of the crash. For instance, if you were involved in, especially with the deer moving around right now, vehicle versus deer crash, and your vehicle is drivable, we still supposed to call it in, but a county officer doesn't have to respond if your vehicle is just minor damaged. Other things to report would be your location, the number of people that were involved, with the number of vehicles also involved. So if you are driving with multiple people in your car, we still recommend that you at least tell them 3 people. That way, if someone does have whiplash, right, that's still part of the crash incident. So that way they know. And that's kind of going into reporting injuries. And the injuries can be as simple as basically a little cut to as serious as someone's like fully bleeding from their head. If you're able to know, provide your license plate number if possible, just so that way they have more information. Again, if it is snowing out and the roadways are busy and you got a little fender bender and you don't remember your plate, we don't recommend you getting out, especially if it's at night, just because a possibility of another motorist not realizing it, or as they say, moths are attracted to light. That's kind of the same thing as some drivers. So if they see lights, they kind of will tend to go that way. Responding to one of the questions, such as smaller animals, such as like possums, raccoons. If, let's say it's just a squirrel type of thing, and it's just your wheels, as long as we still recommend you at least checking to make sure that you don't have a punctured tire, because the last thing you want is traveling 55 and all of a sudden now that tire becomes really flat. That would be more of your insurance that you have to report it to. If it's any major damage, so such as you hit a possum that takes out your front bumper, then yes, we
It's got to be a really big,
well, it's got to
big
be a
possum.
pretty big possum.
But that being said, so if you hit a smaller animal and it's a wild animal, you don't need to report it, like he stated, unless it's substantial damage, or it causes you to veer off the roadway and hit an object adjacent to the roadway. Because if you, I recommend if there's a smaller animal in the roadway, squirrel, possum, raccoon, I recommend that it's if you can slow down enough so it runs off, do not veer left or right, because you don't want to veer into oncoming traffic and cause a serious two-vehicle accident now. I love animals, but if a wild animal loses a life based and doesn't ruin any vehicles, you hit the vehicle. If it's a dog or a domesticated animal, I would pull over, contact a non-emergency number, and do the right thing, because that is somebody's dog. It's just the right thing to do. So unless, and I think that answers, do we need to be reported? So no, they don't need to be reported, essentially, unless it's substantial damage to your vehicle.
Perfect. Kind of going off of that too, with the whole idea of try not to avoid the animals, especially during winter. We don't know where the ice really is all the time, just because we've seen this salt trucks out salting the grounds. If we have to make a sharp turn or try to veer, we might not have traction, which could cause us, the drivers going into the ditch or any more major damage to your vehicle compared to just, unfortunately, like Officer DeMarcy said, just kind of unfortunately hitting one of those smaller animals. But continuing with the crash, again, if it occurs and you're able to move the vehicle, try to get as far off the roadway as possible, just to create more distance from traffic traveling. If you're unable to, that would definitely be a 911 call due to vehicles being in the roadway. We want to get at least some kind of officer there. If not us, at least a county or other city officer there, just so that way it kind of keeps everyone safe from any harm. If it is a minor incident and you guys are safe and the roads aren't in really bad conditions, we do recommend, at least as long as both parties are being cordial, to talk to the other person involved, exchange name information such as your basic name, insurance, telephone numbers for you guys to get, and also license plate. And then also for your own records, we recommend that you do take photographs, so that way you have them when the insurance does request it. And the biggest thing is any vehicle on vehicle or vehicle on other private property damage crashes. It is a state crime if you are to leave the scene of the incident. So once again, we are saying at least call it in if all officers are busy due to some kind of major incident and the dispatch tells you you're allowed to leave. Just make sure you take notes, take records, photos. And what I at least recommend is leaving the dispatcher with an email, so that way if anything, they know how to fully reach you with your phone number and email. And we recommend that you at least have them email you that statement saying that they allowed you to leave, just so that way there's no mix-ups in the future. Just because one department knows, another might not know, and they might take the report. So, but again, whenever it is a property or other vehicle, do not leave the scene.
So we kind of touched on a lot, kind of went fast through it. It's just both of us talk really fast.
Yeah.
So if anybody has any questions, I'm going to type in our information to the message thing. Bear with me because I'm old. I don't do computers well. But it'll be my work phone number, and Officer Mangold has not received, oops, I almost put my personal phone number in there. He hasn't received a work phone number yet. He will in a few weeks once he's off training. But he'll be assigned the Beloit Madison, Sauk County, Juneau County. So you can call me if you need to get a hold of him, and I can pass along the information as well. Does anybody have any specific questions?
What does the average day of a Ho-Chunk officer look like?
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. There is no average.
Sounds like nursing. Yeah.
So, and it's really, so I had the experience, and so did Kalen. He was a short time with Jackson County, but I was 17 years with another jurisdiction that was a non-tribal police department. And it's the same type of patrol, but it's different. The tribal police department is more community orientated, and I love that because with our specific trust lands, laws, ordinances, we're able to have more resources. We have the same resources that non-tribal do, but it's more to the heart. Like I feel it's more of a caring community, because just with how small we are, I can work well and I can call social services and be like, "Hey, Tony, I need this," and I can get it right away. I love to give people more resources than having to take them to jail. Unfortunately, we do have to take people to jail, but sometimes if we can arrest people on paper is what I call it, where if you need to go to a treatment center or you need counseling, we do have the resources within the Ho-Chunk to be able to give our tribal members those resources first, because we have to be able to help the issue at hand first, and then it'll help all the stuff that we got called to the house for. So then I can say, well, unfortunately, I do have to submit charges to our DOJ, our Attorney General, or the county, but I can do it on paper, and we can get you into a facility, or we can get you counseling prior to that, so we don't always have to go to jail. But a day in the life of a Ho-Chunk officer is, we're in 6 different counties right now where we have a law enforcement agreement, which means that right now we have 3 police officers with 1 chief of police. And being in 6 different counties that are one county to another, our furthest is about 2.5-hour distance driving. So when we aren't on duty, we do utilize the county services. We pay them to patrol our areas hopefully on a regular basis. But we do, tomorrow we have to go up the Black River and do some extra attention up there that we were requested for. So if you guys ever need any assistance, you can contact my non-emergency cell phone number. I see that Jamie included the police department number, and that's for non-emergency. Always call 911 on an emergency, or what you believe is an emergency. You're never going to get in trouble with that unless you're doing it just to harass us, right? Which usually kids are doing that, but we have to educate them. And we will respond, and we will call you back at our earliest convenience. When we're working. Now, sometimes I get a lot of phone calls when I'm off duty. I still tend to answer my phone because I care about the community, and that's just my fault, and it's a good fault to have, in my opinion. My boss is always yelling at me, but I'll answer it if I'm available.
I would also say, kind of banking it off of what Kayla said, is from kind of what I've learned in my experience, it is nice to be able to, when we do have a call that we're working on with another community member, it's nice to be able to have that extra time to be able to talk with the person more, be able to work more with the community, and kind of just be patient where we're not trying to get done with the call as fast as possible because we have another call pending or we have other situations in our area. That's the biggest thing that I've learned about working here is there's gonna be times where we're kind of just trying to, find something to do so that way we are just kind of like driving around, making sure everyone's kind of good, clear. But then at other times, there's times that, as Officer DeMarcy said, is we might have to drive all the way out to Black River to go work on a certain situation, and then our goal is to still, let's say, come back to Sauk, but then all of a sudden we have another call out in Toma, so then we have to go and uh, kind of work with that situation, and you know, our days are as long as sometimes we need to be working, and sometimes you know we might actually get most of our hours all in like 3 days time instead of being able to work 4 to 5 days. So that's the other thing with this department that we're trying to work on is keep hiring more officers so that way we're able to spend more time with the community, be able to uh, have more of that outreach for everyone.
And I just ask that you bear with us because we do have so many communities that are so far away. Sometimes people get frustrated with us, and I totally understand it because every incident, no matter if it's small or large, it's always big to me because you're calling us for a reason, right? Like, so I treat, hey, my neighbor's dog is in my yard all the time. Can you take care of it and go, help me, you know, solidify the situation? Whereas I take that just as seriously as a domestic dispute or a fight, just because it is an issue, right? I wouldn't want somebody else's dog pooping in my yard either. So, um, we do take every complaint serious. Just bear with us that it might take us some time to get there.
Do you work with any other tribal nation health, or excuse me, police department?
So in my experience, I've only had to work closely with one other tribal department on a call. We we would work with them. It's just unfortunately we're so far away. We do have officers. We send every officer to a training called NAJI, and I forget what it stands for. It's like Native American Tribal Officers Drug Enforcement, multi-jurisdictional drug enforcement, where you go to a 2 week training and they have we share drug information and gang information, different information between the tribe, and try to track it that way because the federal government doesn't track the laws or the broken laws or incidences on tribal trust properties, like the PL 280 departments. For whatever reason, they don't. So we try to keep track of that and stay on top of it. But unfortunately, especially with Ho Chunk being that we're the checkered board reservation, it's hard to retain officers because of the travel and trying to keep consistent hours. We don't have consistent hours at all. We're kind of all over the place. And that's another thing that I like, that we can amend our hours and work this time instead of that time, but it does wear on you because you're not getting the rotational sleep and time with your family, but we understand that too because it's the job. So I'm not complaining about it. Is there any other questions or anything else that we can cover?
Well, Jamie has put a bunch of different documents and phone numbers into the chat. If anyone wants to check those out.
Yeah, I see links on here. That's awesome. Thank you for doing that. Oh, did I
Good.
it?
What is your favorite part of your job?
Ooh, there's a lot of it. I just like my favorite part of the job. I would say it's just the interactions that I can get with the community, and every day is different. I know that's a cliche answer, but honestly, that's truly what I love.
Yeah, I mean, kind of along those same lines. I enjoy just being able to kind of work a little bit more on my own pace, being able just to have more of that freedom of being able to talk more with the community, work with the community, uh, being able to just kind of just more be able to have a little bit of that freedom to get a better understanding from our department to the public, and then kind of go from there.
Does anyone else have questions, or I could keep this rolling all day and come up with questions?
Did you say something?
Oh, you're good.
So in a couple of weeks, we're going to have Rachel Dozer, one of our behavioral health clinicians, come on and talk about New Year's resolutions. So for you two as officers, what are your goals for 2026?
My goals honestly are to get to a lot of our smaller communities like Wittenberg, Shawano County and Wood County, just because it's hard to get up there, because not a lot of my area and my high call ratio is Sauk County and Juneau County. So when you call us, when we take complaints, usually there's a lot of follow up and it takes days to call people back. They call us back. So things are stacking up. We don't get out there enough. And I know people know it, we know it, and it's just difficult. So that's my goal, is to get out to the areas that I haven't in the past because we're busy.
Kind of more from my perspective is just kind of continue working with the community. I know I've been getting at least around here, been getting some good FaceTime, being able to talk with some community members, and kind of just keep going from there. Be able to have a better understanding of who people are and understand where I can be better for the community.
So Nadine is asking about travel for Canada. Appears she's traveling to Canada soon. And I just got back from Toronto. My son plays hockey at a higher level, so we travel all over the place. What I recommend is to get a passport. That's the best thing to travel to Canada because it's the most secure document within the United States. Although you can get an ID. I think it's called the Real ID through the state of Wisconsin. And all states have it, but the state of Wisconsin, you would go and you would get, they call it the star on your license. I think I have it on mine. I can show you mine if you want. But it's a star on your license, which just means you need to go to the DMV, but you need to take your social security number, I believe your birth certificate, and like a water bill or a bill that proves that you reside where you reside. And it's more of a secured document. I'm trying to find mine. Sorry, bear with me. But it's got a star in the corner of it, and that little star gives you the authority to go to Canada. I'm not sure if it works in Mexico, but I know it works for Canada and the government there. But I would suggest getting a passport because that's the most secure thing that you can have. I thought tribal IDs were sufficient. I'm not sure. That's the first time I've heard that tribal IDs are sufficient. So I am trying to look this up for you. Real quick, just bear with me. Hopefully I get an answer by the end of this presentation. But then safety suggestions. So Canada has restrictions on so if you're traveling with kids or even just two adults or one adult, you have food in your vehicle, they don't like when you have produce. So if you have an apple and an orange, and I found that out the hard way when my kids were a lot younger than what they are now, just because we grow or the federal government allows us to put more different chemicals in the United States than they do in Canada, and they don't want it to, uh, contaminate their stuff, and we don't want their stuff to contaminate ours. It looks like Kaylin just looked up on the computer. To enter Canada, you'll need one valid identification and travel documents, such as a passport. So a tribal ID is sufficient enough, or the Wisconsin driver's license with the real ID.
Well, you need to.
But you need the two. You need your tribal ID and your state ID and or driver's license.
Like your passport and a tribal ID or state ID, basically.
Oh,
That's what that basically means.
well, it looks like you do need a passport now.
But that's not including the real IDs.
You may be denied entered if you have been convicted of a crime in the United States. And I don't know what crimes that is. I'm guessing if you, I know felonies that you need special permission to get into Canada, but it appears that to enter Canada, you will need a valid and travel document such as a passport and a tribal ID and state ID. So it's not just your tribal ID and state ID. So it appears they did change it. So you do need a passport.
She was just asking how much.
Passports, I cannot remember what I paid. I know children are cheaper and they only last for 5 years. Adults last for 10 years. They're good for 10 years. Oh, looks like that. It looks like Claudia stated that adult is $165
For this to start.
for the start of it, application fee. So there's several different fees that you would have to do. So
Yeah, I just got mine for the first time.
yeah.
And so, yeah, what the fees are what Claudia said. You have to, get a picture. You can get pictures at Walmart. They're like $8 to get a picture at Walmart. And then you have to also, after you fill out the paperwork, you got to take it to the clerk of courts
Yeah.
and have an original birth certificate. So
Yeah, we did ours. So they also do it at the post office.
Mm.
They do applications at certain post offices where certain ones will take that photograph. Otherwise, you can go to Walgreens and CVS for the passport photo as well.
Mhm.
So yes, they did change it. No, real ID cards cannot be used for border crossing into Canada. So it can be used as an ID, but it's not, it used to be you can just use that real ID to enter. I'm glad I looked it up because I was wrong. Oh, I'm not sure if the OPP is for tribal members. I do have family that up in Canada that does work for the OPP. So if I can't get it online, I can get the answer from them.
OOP.
Yeah, OOP,
Is it OOP?
oh, OPP, OOP. Uh, oh, I thought you were talking about the
Yeah.
provincial police. Okay. I'm not sure if they're still reimbursing. I can send an email to Bill Gardner. He's the Attorney General and find that answer out. But yeah, it's just some other safety tips to Canada too. Like they have really strict, so I don't know what you're traveling to Canada for. A lot of people go to hunt and fish and hike and stuff. They do have a really strict weapons laws where you can take pocket knives, but make sure it's not a switchblade. And a switchblade is activated by a button and it's got a spring in it. So if it's a normal, smaller pocket knife, smaller, 4 inches long or smaller, that would be appropriate, or a hunting knife, or if you're going for fishing, something small to fillet your fish, but no guns. And if you do take a gun, you have to You have to tell them at customs, and you probably have to bring registration numbers and paperwork with your gun and stuff like that. So just be aware, just check your vehicles. We're a hunting and fishing family. Sometimes you throw stuff in your trunk you don't know, because at the border they can search your vehicle. They can ask you to exit your vehicle and search it from engine compartment back to bumper. I mean, they can really take hours and do it. We were lucky enough where at a couple of questions they looked in and with their flashlights, they had a little mirror underneath, and we were good to go. My concerns.
Yeah, that's already got it figured out.
Okay. And then also if you take any, not that saying you will, but if you take or bring back any alcohol or anything like that, it's governed on how much you can do. It's like anything that you buy is governed by how much you can bring in or take. It's not my, I was gonna check our email.
Yeah.
And I know, when are you traveling to Canada? I know that you can do an expedited, usually it takes 6 to 8 weeks to get your passport, but you can expedite it by paying extra and get it as soon as 2 to 4 weeks.
Okay. Plenty of time.
Oh, you have plenty of time, but I would still do it sooner rather than later, because you know the government, they can shut down and now you're not getting it for weeks.
Do you have the, do you know who to call about the ceremonial objects?
I would think as long as, I mean, ceremonial objects, people have well, most people have common sense, such as Border Patrol officers. They're pretty easy to identify. So if you're talking about those things, I'm pretty certain that you'll be okay. We can try to search that for you, but those are pretty easily to identify. We conduct traffic stops and have located certain ceremonial objects within vehicles, and we're very respectful. We've put on classes for the counties that we have agreements with. And we've had members of our own tribal community put on classes and show them what ceremonial objects are. And I believe that Border Patrol goes through some of the same training where they do know what to identify and they know to respect that item. Sorry, bear with me. I'm just kind of looking it up for Border Patrol.
What's it for?
Yeah, it looks like they're allowed. It's just, if it's anything really large, and yeah, I don't see an issue with it.
I would say the biggest thing is just if you're driving through that route, is when you get there, just informing them the purposes and stuff like that. I know a lot of times, like uh, at least for our perspective, you know, as long as it's not a weapon, they have no problem with you taking it like out of the box personally, and you handling it just with them looking.
So it looks like ceremonial objects. If you're talking about native, like sage cedar, you could take up to 200 grams. So there is a weight limit on it.
And just to kind of answer that question, no, I'm 5'9", so I mean I play basketball with friends, but I never played in high school or anything like that.
I played college basketball though. We won the national championships. Why didn't you ask me that?
I've already had you play basketball at my
Yeah, I know, I
Bird
hear
on
ya.
basketball team.
I know.
I want to see Kaylin out there now.
What's that?
I said it'd be nice to see Kaylin out there now. 3-point contest.
Yeah, right. Oh, I'll beat him. I'm too competitive. Oh, I just missed this.
No, you're good.
Where is everybody from? What counties?
We're in Shawano County over here in Wittenberg.
Yeah.
Melissa, Isaac, and Nadine are going to be in Jackson County.
Okay.
And Leah and Michael, I don't know where they are from.
How is your guys's, now I got questions for you. How is the sheriff's department in each one of your guys's location? How are they to work with? Or if you don't want to, I mean, is there anything that we could do to,
Bridge that gap.
No, for the most part, Shawano County is easy to work with, especially when it's
Yeah.
on the professional side of requesting assistance and stuff. We're still trying to work out the kinks in the LEC agreement here for Shawano County.
yes,
Because they actually, when the casino requests Shawano County presence, our LEC agreement is actually getting charged for that. So when they're at concerts or outside venues and things like that for the casino, that's actually coming out of our LEC contract with the county. They don't have a separate contract with the casino, so it does limit our funds throughout the year.
Right.
yeah. Well, I hope you guys can get that resolved. And if there's anything that we can do to help that, if we could get, if you guys need to contact any of the contacts, supervisors that we utilize at the sheriff's department here in Sauk County or Jackson County, if you need to talk to those supervisors to better, you know, to say, hey, we've talked to this supervisor down there and this is what they do. This has just been, you know, what they charge us for or what have you.
But otherwise, if you do have like certain special events that you would like a police presence, especially in the casino itself, if you send Zach, Chief Quiggenbot, Bush a email requesting, you know, an officer's presence during that certain time, as long as we don't have anything else like of emergence going on or personal.
Or if we're on duty or if we're not doing another event, because we
Correct.
have so many events. There's so many Christmas events going on this weekend, and we're all kind of going in our separate ways, and we do our best to be everywhere, but although it can't happen because we have 6 different communities.
But that would definitely be the route to go.
But yeah,
For us
always
with these
request it
events.
always request it via email. Because then we have, if we don't show up and you request it and we say, yeah, we can be there, then you can say, hey, no, you agreed to it. And then we can always also go back and just put it into our calendars and remind us. And we suggest that you do it a month in advance at least. We do know things come up, but we'll do our best to do it. But if it's requested via email, it's the best way because we're always getting asked, why weren't you here? Why aren't you there? And it's like, please ask us during an email because it's just easier to track. He just watched Rambo. Have you seen that Young Bus? Is there any other questions, concerns? And if you guys have any questions that you guys don't want to ask in this public platform, I did put, again, just as a reminder, I did put my phone number there. You can always text me. And if I don't readily have the answer, give me a few days and I'll have an answer for you. What's the best time of year to do what?
Yeah,
My favorite time of year is summer. I like the heat.
fall, because after all that heat.
Well, hearing no other questions, Hinagigi, thank you so much for talking with us. As a reminder, this session is recorded and will be on the Department of Health website and on our Facebook page. We will be taking a 2-week break from the series for the holidays, so meet us back here Wednesday, January 7th. We'll have Rachel Dozer, one of our behavioral health clinicians, to talk about New Year's resolution culture. You can use the same link as today to join all future sessions. If you would like the meeting invite to be added to your calendar, you can email Jamie and I. She put our information in the chat. We also welcome any feedbacks. You can email us, let us know what you'd like to learn about, or if you'd like to present at a future session. So thank you, everybody. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you. Have a
guys.
good one. Thank you for having us.